Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Students for Political Engagement. Today, we have an interview with mayoral candidate Holo Devnani. Welcome, Mr. Devnani.
Thank you.
To start off, would you like to offer a short introduction of yourself and why you're running for city council or why you're running for mayor?
Yes, to give you some educational background or working background, I am master's in physics from India, Delhi University. Then I got a scholarship for higher education at Carleton University, which I did another master's in medical physics again. And then I was advised to go for MBA program. So I went for MBA program. A little bit tough in the beginning because I was just a physics and math guy. There you go and learn about operation research, which was okay, but I did it well. And then I went for look for a job. I won't get in detail, but I had difficulty getting a job because of certain reasons you can think of yourself at the moment. So I took a job as a COBOL programmer, which was the lowest job you can get in Iowa because they call EDP, but I took it. As they say, rest is history. I was lucky. I progressed my way up and I showed them my degrees and all that. And I'm lucky I got to work in, I worked in Saudi Arabia, France, USA, and Greece too. So there has been quite a bit of experience interacting with different cultures. And I don't speak French, but still I got a job over there. I don't speak Greece. I got a job over there. I got into something called data warehousing. And the reason I came forward was that instead of complaining, sitting home and complaining things are not working properly. If you ever seen liberal newspaper or local newspaper, every 3-4 weeks, there's some kind of a fiasco going on in the city. Like this, in a way, you can say is completely dysfunctional. Like people are not going along with each other. And what bothered me was that during COVID-19, whatever you want to call it, when most people were like being working from home and being laid off, and three executives at top level decided they should give themselves 15% raise. To me, it's outrageous. I don't know how you feel about it, but most important thing was that then 3 councillors, including our current mayor, they say, "Oh no, it's okay. We don't want macro manage." I said, "Wow, you don't want to macro manage, but you got to have some guidelines. Like, how can you justify 15% raise?" And then, have you heard about Karen? Like she was involved in some kind of fraud, whatever you can read in the paper or Google it. And then about that one, he also washes out. I don't understand how political system works over here. You have been convicted of fraud and you still can be a candidate, which is she is at the moment. So that's what made me come forward. And I'm not a political person, but I do have very good understanding of economics, financing, HR, how things are supposed to work. So that's why I came forward. That's about it.
All right, thank you. I guess we'll move into our first question, which is about city transportation. So one of the more important aspects of a good city is efficient transportation. What, as mayor, would you do to develop and improve Richmond Hill's current transportation system?
Okay. Actually, I wrote a letter to Ministry of Transportation. I can send you a copy. And they responded back was that we'll get back to you. And they got back to me saying that you should be contacting the appropriate authority. If you're seeing Young Street, to me, it's a fiasco. First thing is, I don't understand the 2 buses, YRT, Viva, whatever you want to call them, right? I have seen it with my own eyes. People are standing in the middle of the lane because YRT comes in the middle of lane, or Viva comes in the middle of lane, and then you got Viva coming on the side lanes. If you want to go from, say, Harding Boulevard to the Finch Avenue, it doesn't matter which bus you take. So I don't understand why there are 2 bus stops and people are going back and forth. One day somebody's going to get hurt. Like I've seen with my own eyes, people running around because they see different type of bus coming in. I don't know whether you take a bus or not, but it's kind of difficult for a student at the age of 16, 17 to be running around and all that. And I can give you another few points about this whole transportation system, which I don't like, is this about the whole Young Street. Like I consider from transportation point of view, also have to consider what you call these so-called senior citizen and all that. And now if you can look at Young Street, 7 lane, how do you expect a guy with a walker or in a scooter to push a button to cross the street? First thing, I know what puzzles me. You're sitting in a car comfortably, you get a green signal, red signal automatically, but you're a pedestrian, you have to push a button to get across the road. Why so? Why can't they leave the lights on for pedestrians too? If there are no pedestrians, cars will go as they are supposed to go. And in snow time, I took actually some pictures, did not bother sending to anybody. You can see people struggling to cross the road. And then they have what you call they should be doing staging. You got 7 lanes to cross. You cannot cross sometimes in 30 seconds you're given to. Some kind of system like that. So I wrote a letter. I can send you a copy of the letter if you wish. Transportation system should be so that you can go from point A to point B, which could be say all across GTA, buy a ticket once, get into once and get out. That's the system works in Europe. Why it can't work in Europe? See, I was in Europe in 1987, long time ago, and they had some kind of electronic system. You plug the system in when you get in, and when you get out, you plug the system in. Depending on how far you have moved, it will deduct the right amount of money.
All right.
All right.
Thank you for that answer. And I think as a follow-up, some more specific things about transportation could be like other modes of transportation, such as bicycles and sidewalks. So do you have any ideas on?
Yes, actually,
those
okay. I walk 6 kilometers a day. I walk on Young Street because when I go for shopping, there's no point to take a car. What I see, people are using bicycles on the pedestrian walkway because they are scared to walk or you got bicycle on the lanes, bicycle lanes. I see reason why. If I were to bike, I wouldn't go over there because you're going on a bicycle, some car man, he could be in a, I don't know, loses control and can hit you. And I seen system in Australia. I don't know why can't they put it over there. I was there, very good system. What they've done, they what they call bicycle path, along with they got some kind of barrier so the car cannot cross it. So you feel safe driving on the bicycle lane. And also during winter time, this snow people come, they don't clean up the all the way to the curb. They just do the what they call car lanes and whole snow falls on the bicycle lane. So how are you going to drive? Even if you want to say drive in when the weather is a little bit better, of course you don't drive bicycle in this winter time. But when the weather gets better, it becomes like completely wet with water and all that. And some people are daring, they want to drive in winter or take a bicycle in winter, they cannot do that. And I live in a building with quite a senior citizens. They go on a scooter and snow is not clean very clearly so that they can't even take a scooter to go in winter time. See, if they really want to make it people to use bicycle, they have to make bicycle friendly and doesn't cost extra lot of money to put a barrier. These politicians go and travel to different countries. What do they see? I don't understand. I'm like, I go for 2 weeks over Australia. I can see right off the back, oh, this is a good system. And to give example, I was in Greece working. Within the first day, I realized that this pedestrian crossway are different than what we in Canada. On big lanes, the stage walking, like a stage crosswalk. You cross first. See, think about this one. There are 2 cars going left this way and that way. You extend your left. Left goes here, left goes there. You can think about that. In the meantime, pedestrian can cross halfway already because car is going other way around. So first half he can cross depending on which way he's going, and next half he can cross when cars are not there. Like, think about it, like the way extend your left works. On major street, they have extend your left. Car is going this way, another car is going this way, right? So I can cross from here to there very easily because car is not coming over there. At certain places, they have what's called a stage walkway, but they're not being used. So what's holding them? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, we understand. So thank you for that answer. So the next question has to do with urban development. So urban development is an important part of Richmond, the city's council's responsibility. Right now, the lack of housing is an important problem facing Richmond Hill as our population grows. On the other hand, density of housing and adequate services are also a concern of many residents. What is your idea or philosophy on how city council or how a mayor should approach this problem and balance these 2 issues?
See, affordability, housing is not related to Richmond, it's all across GTA. The way we are growing we need more houses. But what's the solution? People say we don't want high-rise building. Fact is, land is limited. You will have high-rise building. Other day, like say, I live from a place with a vacant land, and we got notification 3-4 years ago that builder wanted to build houses and all that. That's fine. I have no problem with that because I know houses will be built, they have to be built somewhere. This attitude of what's called NIMBY, not in my backyard, I have issues with that one. Other issue that I have is that when builder wanted 30-story building, what I read in the paper was that fire department said, if there's a fire, they cannot go on 30th floor because they don't have resources. To me, that's not issue of a developer, that's issue of fire city. They should be proactive. Now you can't wait till the developer says, I want to go 30 stories, or fire department say, oh, I don't have resources to go to 30 story. In New York, we are building up to 100 floors. So how do they manage it? These kind of excuses to me don't make sense to me. Another thing was that somebody said like there was big issue coming along that on high tech, they want to build 80-story building. And some people are saying they're too high. I said, let the people decide themselves if they want to live on 80th floor or not. If there's no demand, it's a question of supply and demand. If people don't buy it, builder won't build it. They will go bankrupt. We live in a capitalist society, so we have to let them decide what they want to buy. What's happening at the moment, I saw like a minister made there's some leeway because if council cannot make a decision, they can jump in. To me, council cannot make decisions, they are dysfunctional. So developer goes to what is the minister and they get approval from there, and then we complain, oh, we should not be doing it. Fact is, we had to do something about it. We had to be proactive that whatever fire department needs, we have to provide them upfront, not wait till this problem comes. The way I look at it, like you're a student, you have to think for a critical thinking. Critical thinking means you think ahead. What is going to happen? What kind of resources we should be before developers come and say we need this, this, and this.
Okay, yes, thank you for that answer. And I think just to specify on your exact thinking of how houses are built, would you support more high rises and condos, or would you support like more medium-sized houses and single detachment houses?
See, personal choice doesn't matter what I support. The question is what's demand. Personally, I like mid-rise because I live in a mid-rise, so I like that. Because that mid-rise does not create a shadow and all that, if you know like the way sun moves and all that, that's fine, but that's my thinking. But that doesn't mean society has to go by my thinking. Society has to go what's called majority, what's the democracy likes. If builder comes and say, I want 30-story building, people don't want to live in 30-story building, builder will get the idea. And so far coming to say like single housing is a good concept, but what about transportation? You need everybody have a car, then car causes pollution, car causes this. So why can't we live in like high density areas like most people like in developed countries do? But I live in a condominium, so that's like sometimes creates problem too, because you have to understand condominium living is not like living in a house. You're like community living. So we can get some education in that area, how to resolve those issues. Other than that, like to me, let the market decide. I don't want to be like, say, come with a ban and say, no, we should do this. Let the society or developers, whatever sells, if sales doesn't sell, they'll get out. And 40%, other thing is like, when it comes to affordability, it's more issue at like federal level and provincial level. The way I look at municipal government is to get about pragmatic decision about your money. See, people don't forget that whatever services you are getting, you're not getting for free. You're paying for all that. The way I see myself, I won't be mayor. I'll be like a trustee. You give me money to manage it on your behalf to get you the best service I can give it to you. I don't know if you agree with me or not, but that's the way I look at it. Okay.
Okay, yes, thank you very much for that answer. And I think our next question is something that you mentioned, which is the issue of money. So Obviously,
Sorry, say that again. Which is
so our next question is on the issue of money.
money. Yeah,
So the financial health of the city is
right.
obviously an important thing to the operations of the city.
Yes.
So how will you as mayor ensure that Richmond Hill is on good financial grounds while at the same time providing the same or improved services?
Yes. See, first thing I see is, have you seen how many lawsuits are going on? Everybody's suing everybody. Some people spend a lot of money and they cannot get it back. Okay, I have a good physical, financial background. I have MBA degree. I know how to do budgeting and all that. So first thing I try to do is get this, what you call this, issues resolved, so that you're not drain your, what you call, hard and dollars on lawyers' fees, because lawyers are not cheap. They cost you a lot of money. Another thing is, I don't know what they do in accounting procedure in a city hall. The way I look at it, this money which has been overspent should never have been done, because suppose you're given, say, $50,000 budget to spend, right? The way system's supposed to work is you bring a bill up to $50,000, you get paid. So suppose you brought a bill of $10,000, you will get $10,000, $40,000 left, and so on and so forth. How this guy spent $140,000 more is beyond me. I'll find out what's happening in City Hall, what kind of procedures they have to make sure this thing never happens. And I cannot see, people are saying that we should have 0% increase. I say, why should you have 0%? Because you never thought of, say, minus 5%? Why budget has always go up? Because the way they have a budget, they take current budget and just proportionally increase it. The way I look at it, I look at each and every item, where is money being spent? Is it being spent for good cause, or just like some guy goes and gives grants here and there? I don't want to give grants here and there just to get a name, to get a few votes. That's not my way of style. Personally, people are surprised I don't even need money from City Hall. You gave me $1. You know why I'm saying that? I'm retired. If I get money from City Hall, I don't get money from City Hall, doesn't really matter. If I wanted money, I had a job offer in February, which I declined, because why should I work and pay so much taxes? I have a comfortable life, retired, I got pension plan. I know how to manage my money. I'm doing pretty good. I got no need for money. Actually, if I get the money, it becomes difficult for me to do this and that. And people say, why would you want to spend your time? I say, well, I got time, I got energy, I got the knowledge. If people want, they can take my services. If they don't want, this is a democratic society. They choose whom they want to choose.
Thank you for your answers. So our next question is going to be pertaining to public parks and green spaces. So our public parks and green spaces are an important part of Richmond Hill. How will you work to protect and improve the environment of Richmond Hill as mayor?
See, environment, climate change, this and this. Like, I'm not pretending that I got all the solutions to all the problems. My focus will be first thing on to make city work better. When it comes to green spaces, I want to see the parks being used properly and all that. I just came from a walk. There are no desks. I can actually show you a picture right here. See, this is a desk in park beside me. There are lots of senior citizens. You can't even sit there. The question you have to ask yourself, you have money to put, say, like, thank you, Mr. Borough and all that for your community services, spend kind of money. That money should have been spent over here and thanking over there. If I were your mayor, first thing I would tell you, I don't want any thank you for anybody. I don't want my name mentioned anywhere. Once I'm gone, I'm gone. Green spaces, I tell people, the more time you spend on green space, walking and all that, less time you spend in hospital. I was just talking to a person, I said, isn't it interesting? We people ask for government for free medical care, free hospital. I said, why don't you ask for free gyms? Go to gyms, do some exercise and get healthy. we have lots of like park space, I mean, how many people go and walk there? I will be more in wellness and health and wellness. Use green space, get walks, get healthy, and protect the health wealth, what do you call this green space we have. But again, some people say, you can't go do whatever you want in that neighborhood, but not in my neighborhood. This concept of NIMBY has to be given away, like not in my backyard concept. So I don't pretend that I have all the solutions to all the problems, but I can tell you this thing. I walk a lot, like I'm the person who will go around and see what needs to be done and take input from not somebody sitting on 50th floor and making decision, from the people who are on the ground. They can make committees, like voluntary committee, like I belong to Road Watch committee. We can a green space committee, say what needs to be done to protect green space. They come with problems, they come with solutions, and we make decisions.
Okay, thank you for that answer. And I think our next question is on a very important part of the mayor's job, which is to represent Richmond Hill at York Region Council.
Yeah.
So what do you think should be the relationship between Richmond Hill and York Region, and how will you ensure that Richmond Hill is represented at York Region?
See, my personal view is Richmond Hill want all these municipalities should be combined with the region. We should have one region just so we can compete with Toronto. At the moment, we are 9 municipalities, right? We got 9 mayors. We got 9 public libraries. Do you really need 9, what do you call, city halls? Each costing $200 million for what? We have population of 1.2 million in York region. And we got 21 councillors at York region. Toronto has a population of 2.4 or 3.4 million people. They got 24 councillors and 1 mayor. Try to compare the two. Why we can't have one York region, all the municipalities merged together? I know people won't like it because they lose their jobs. And look at the salary of a mayor of Richmond, $140,000 for what? And same, look at what you call Markham, how much money they are making. When you look at it, Richmond Hill mayor is a part of the, say, York region. What does he do? He has only involved with transportation, policing, and fire department, right? So if you look at it, municipality, there's a department called road in municipality of, say, Richmond Hill, and the department municipality in Markham. Road goes along, say, Harding Boulevard or say Major Mac, all of a sudden it changes from Richmond Hill to Markham. Does road really care? Do you need 2 mayors to look after the same strip? Few things should be merged with the particularly road department or region, what you call municipality should be merged in the region so they can look after the whole region the way they do with what you call this, transportation, policing, and all that. When you come to the special interests of the Richmond Hill, interests of Richmond Hills are no different than interests of the Markham. All people want good service, a low cost, and medical or emergency service available, police available when they need it. I don't know if that answers the question or not, but the way I look at it, all humans are same. All we belong to the same region. All of us are entitled to the same service. If I see one region being given extra service, then I got a question why. We should be on equal footing.
Thank you for that answer. So our next question has to do with community safety. So a large part and a very important part of a livable community is community safety. How will you as a counselor maintain and improve community safety in Richmond Hill?
See, that's my good question you have, because that's my brief, because what's happening is, if you look at Toronto, you know what's happening in Toronto, Brampton, Mississauga, and people think we are safer here. It may come back, haunt us, or crime moves. That has to something to do with the way society is moving. To me, they're moving completely to the left. and there are no what you call questions being asked. Community policing has to be given some, I don't know, power or whatever you want to call it. Safety is a big thing. I'm concerned about safety, and this has to be done with the collaboration with the police chief. I haven't talked to police chief, what are the demands or what do they need it. So for me to say, give you comment will be hard for me to do, because I am concerned with the, what do you call this, crime, because crime wave is, I don't watch news anymore because all you watch is a shooting here, shooting there, stabbing over here, stabbing over there. Then you wonder what's going on in society. To me, the root cause is people are not happy. The question, see, everybody talks about gun control, right? Oh, we want gun control. The question I ask is this: why no politician asks the question, what makes a 17-year-old man, boy, get up in the morning and start shooting? Nobody asks those questions. Before you have gun control, you have to ask what's causing people to shoot people, for what reason? They're unhappy, or is it like a game? What's happening? My background is physics, which is science, which means first you go to the root cause. What's causing? Other thing is like education system. I was educated in India. I'm a kid educated over here. It's a vast difference. We learn in India 2 + 2 is 4 is one thing you learn, but we learn more responsibility, how to be a good citizen, all that. Those kind of things have to be brought to the school level. So people, when they're growing up, they understand the value of the community. At the moment, community doesn't mean anything. Everybody's for me, me, me. What's this for me? This concept of me has to be gone away, and it's really like we. And that things can improve. I don't know if you watch news on, do you know what's happening in the city of Toronto or Brampton? I don't know if you watch it or not. Very bad things are happening. You saw what happened in Saskatchewan. It can happen anywhere, because I don't know what's going on in the society as such.
Yes, thank you for that answer. And I think as a follow-up, do you think there are any specific things that could be done to alleviate crime?
Yeah, to see, first thing is, the system has been changed. Unless you commit a crime, they cannot question you. If you do something, it's called the people come say, oh, you're profiling me. But there has to be some kind of balance. Like, you don't wait for the crime to be committed before it happens. You know what I'm saying? The current scenario is, if crime has not happened, you cannot do anything about it. But if you are, say, community police is talking to people, going on what's happening in the city, the way it used to happen, I don't know, maybe before they used to happen in Toronto, they would go around walking people, getting friendly to people, they will find out what's happening in community. As a matter of fact, I was in a conference yesterday and came across a lawyer. Her husband is a police officer, and they're saying is that before they had some leeway, they could prevent the crime. Now they cannot prevent the crime, because crime has not happened, they cannot do anything about it. So to me, education at a school level, why people getting so angry? And other thing is like working with police department, what kind of tools they need before, so that they are not being like charged with profiling or something like that, so that it can be prevented. You know what they say, a stitch in time saves 9. Like if you see a leaky faucet, if you let it go, it will become a flood. If you say, oh, it's a leaky, why should I care about it? So this is what happens. To me, there's a leakage in the crime system also, that something is happening, but we are not noticing it. Maybe it's a small leak, you don't notice it. If you don't notice this, one day you notice it'll be crime. So I think before I say something further, I got to talk to the police chiefs. What are they missing? What can we do for them? See, before we go and tell people, what can you do for us? We have to tell them what kind of help we can give to society as a community. The community wants a safety, but the question is, what community is willing to do to get the safety? You cannot just depend upon government or police department. You have to help them out too. It's to me like a win-win situation.
Okay, thank you for your answer. And I think our next question is about like the power of the mayor. So as you may know, the Ontario government introduced strong mayor legislation to give more powers to the mayors of Toronto and Ottawa. So
Right.
do you think, would you support similar powers here in Richmond Hill?
No, I would not support more power to Richmond Hill, because Richmond Hill is only 200,000 people. Toronto is how many people? And they got, if they combine, say, York region to one region, just like they got in Toronto, then I may think about it. At the moment, I would not support. I think mayor has more power than he needs. The way I look at mayor of Richmond Hill is just a trustee. It's your money and use it for better use, best use it can be.
All right, thank you. So this is going to be our final question.
Yeah, sure.
So if you were to be elected as mayor, what is the first issue you'll try to address?
My first issue to try to address will be this lawsuits going on. They're causing a lot of money drainage and a lot of resources for nothing. So as I wrote in the paper, when they asked me question, my first issue will be to resolve this issue. There's 2 or 3 lawsuits I know of going on. That'll be my first focus.
All right, thank you for being here, Mr. Devnani. We really
Thank you.
appreciate you being here, and
Okay.
and yeah.
But I should tell you about something. On my election, I'm spending $0, 0 volunteers. So that means the decision I make, nobody can say I gave you $100 to give me a favor. I got nobody's favor.
Yeah, thank you. That is an interesting concept.
Okay.
Yes.
Have
Yes.
a great day.
Thank
You
you very
too.
much, and have a great
Thank
day.
you. Take care.